Executive at Clientjoy, and today I'm going to show you how you can use Mailbox to significantly optimize your sales process and never miss out on opportunities. Using Mailbox, you can bring in all of your emails to Clientjoy and set up your signature as well. The reason why this is so awesome is because you can do a couple of things that are really cool. The first is you can start creating leads directly from your Mailbox. Secondly, you can track all of your conversations with your leads and clients, and you always have complete activity log of your conversations. It also sets up the groundwork for email templates and sequences, which we are currently working on and will be out soon. More on that later. Before we talk about the portal though, let's look at a couple of things in terms of why are we doing this live series. One of the key reasons why we started this live session series was because when we were looking at our help chat and support tickets, we found that most folks had questions around things that are already possible within Clientjoy, but because the features were not discoverable, users were deploying some sort of inefficient workaround for that. We've always wanted Clientjoy to be as simple and as minimalistic as possible, but even though we try to do that, since there were 150 features in the product, some things get lost and buried within menus. The goal of this live session is to share some journeys of the product that will make using Clientjoy even more blissful and efficient for you. If you'd like to help us make Clientjoy better for you, I'd recommend you join our beta program on clientjoy.io/partners/beta. What this would do is that before we release our next feature, we'll give you early access to test it out and offer feedback on improvements around the flow, structure, and use cases for that feature. Your feedbacks would make sure that when we make a wider release for all of our 4,000 users and 9,000 freelancers in 90 countries, it is flawless for all of them. Again, just sign up on clientjoy.io/partners/beta and start sharing your thoughts and feedbacks with us on every major feature that we release. Also, if you're new here, I recommend joining our Facebook community of about 1,300 freelancers and agency owners on facebook.com/groups/clientjoy. This community is a safe space where you can ask questions, answer other people's questions, or just share what you're going through as well. We use this space to learn about what is going on in the agency space and as a sounding board of what we should do next in the product. You could get software recommendations, learn industry best practices, and share your experiences as well. Again, the community is available at facebook.com/groups/clientjoy. Lastly, if you've been around a while, you already know that we at Clientjoy are working at an express pace to deliver value to you. Now that there is a place where you can check those features out as well, just head over to updates.clientjoy.io and you'll be able to see our meticulous releases along with our use cases and documentation ready for you to explore and start using within Clientjoy. Again, our update log is available at updates.clientjoy.io. Now that I'm done with my hidden agenda, let's get started with looking through Mailbox and what it can do for your business. And so you will get access to the Mailbox feature if you click on Mailbox over here, and then just click on Connect My Email. And when you click on Connect My Email, it will take you to either a Gmail or a Microsoft Outlook or any other email. If you're using any other email like Zoho or anything like that, you can just put in your SMTP credentials, and we've got great guides for that as well. But for Outlook and Gmail, it integrates with both of your email and calendar, and then at the same time, it's a two-click integration, right? So there are no SMTP settings, figuring out all of those things and stuff like that. So when you click on so we use Outlook at Clientjoy, and so it's going to redirect me to my Office 365 account where I should already be signed in. And boom, done. My Office 365 account was already signed into my browser, and so it just takes me back over here, and we're already done with the integration, right? So one-click integration for me because I've already integrated with Clientjoy previously, but for you, it might ask you for a couple more steps in terms of giving the right permissions and stuff like that. Just check all the permissions that are relevant and click on next, and it'll bring you right back over here, right? And so I just click on save and start syncing. So it'll bring all of my calendar activities and all of my email, everything into Clientjoy, right? So now, as you can see, I'm now in my settings tab, and in my settings tab, I'm currently under connected apps. And so in the connected apps, it is showing me that my Yash at Clientjoy.io, which is my email ID, is already connected. and it is also showing me a message which says, it is syncing my email ID. Please refresh again after a few moments, right? And so we'll just allow it to run the whole process in the background. This is bringing everything, all of your subjects, your attachments, your emails, your contacts, all of those things. It is bringing over here. The important thing to remember over here is that this is a two-way sync, right? So primarily, what it means is that everything that you do in Clientjoy with your mailbox reflects into your native email client, which could be your Outlook or Gmail or Soho or whatever the case may be. And everything that you do over there also reflects over here. So as an example, if you end up, let's say, reading or opening an email in your Outlook, it will also be opened, or it will also be marked as open within Clientjoy, right? And we'll see how it looks like and how it works and stuff like that as well. The first thing that you want to do is while the sync is happening, and it takes a couple of minutes to sync because it's a lot of data to bring in and then organize that, all of that on our side. The other quick thing that I also want to mention over here is that all of this email integration stuff is happening through a partner called Nihilus, right? Nihilus is it's a fairly large organization which essentially offers email infrastructure as a service, and so Nihilus is the email infrastructure provider for companies like HubSpot and Pipedrive and the biggest companies and organizations that you know, and we've also partnered up with them just to make sure. While we have a lot of trust with our engineering team, but we just want to make sure that there are just things that a company with $180 million in financing, there are just things that sort of a company can do that we just can't. And so we just want to make sure that we're working with the best that are out there. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to set mailbox permissions, right? And you want to keep it shared as default. What this means is that any email that you receive, if the sender of that email is already created in Clientjoy as a lead or a customer, the email will be attached to them within Clientjoy, and all the team members that you have in Clientjoy who have access to that lead or customer data will be able to read that email. So just to give you an example, just to make sure that we're clear on this, what this means is that, let's say if you are my client, and I have already added you as a client in my Clientjoy workspace, and if you send out an email to me, and since I've already synced it and shared it, what it means is that all the people in Clientjoy, in my organization, who have access to you as a lead or a client will be able to read that email. Now, a lot of times what might happen is that, let's say you're working with a client and you want to have all the conversations open so that your salespeople and account managers and project managers have access to all the conversations that have happened, and there are less forwards that are required internally within your organization. But then there could be some conversations where you may not want to keep it open, right? So let's say if you're discussing something around pricing, if you're discussing something around billing, if you're discussing something around payments, you may not want it to be linked to that lead or customer within Clientjoy. And I'll show you how to do that. But for 80, 85, 90% of the case, where you're talking about the project, where you're talking about progress, where you're delivering your reports and you're having conversations, all of those you want all the salespeople to have access to it, because if a new person comes in and starts having a conversation, then they need to have full context. So make sure that it is shared over here, right? The second thing that you want to do is you want to configure your email signature, right, for sending out emails from Clientjoy. So you can already send out one-on-one emails and one-to-many emails. You can already do everything in Clientjoy that you can do in your native Outlook and Gmail. And as you can see over here, we've also got email sequences and email templates coming soon. And so for all of those things to work well, you also need to configure email signature. And for email signature, what I just strongly recommend is just go to your native Outlook, much like how I did over here. Click on a new message, just bring in the current email signature that you have. Just copy that, come over here, paste it, and that's pretty much it, right? That's the trick. So it's quick and simple. Instead of creating we've given you, if you check it out over here, we've given you all the rich text editor elements. You can bring in your images and all of those things. We've done all of that, but just to get this done, quickly copy and paste it from whatever your signature is, even if it includes emails and everything. It will just work like a charm. It just works. Just click on that, and then you're done. And then this is something that we'll cover in a separate video. But if you have multiple calendars, then they'll appear over here, and then you can choose which calendar do you want to sync. So you could have a home calendar, and an events calendar, a holidays calendar, and a work calendar. I don't have. I'm a simple man. I just have one calendar, and that's it. But if you have 4 or 5 different calendars, then you can choose which calendar do you want to sync over here. Another thing that you can also do, and again, this is also something that we will take up in other videos, is you can connect your Google Drive and OneDrive account. So all of your files that are uploaded over there can just be brought to Clientjoy, and then you can start sharing that with your leads and clients. But that's the topic for another video, right? So a couple of things. First, 2-click integration with Outlook and Google work for me in 1 click because I've already done that before. Mailbox permission, keep it shared, and I'll talk to you in a bit about how you can hide certain threads or certain conversations from being available across your organization. Just copy and paste your email signature from whatever it is as of now to Clientjoy, and you can also choose which calendar do you want to integrate, right? That's it. We've done the first step, which is our mailbox integration. And now, as you can see, then when I land onto my mailbox tab, it will start showing me all of my emails, right, across my email ID account. It will start showing me all of my emails, right? And I can see my drafts as well. I can also see my sent items. I can see all of my emails over here. I can also go into archive and see my archive. I don't really use archive as much, and I can also see my outbox, but outbox is a temporary mailbox, as you might already know, right? And so now I have all of my emails essentially replicated over here in one single place. So I want to show you how you can create leads from your email. So let's say you receive an email from a prospective client, and so it will start showing up in Clientjoy. And so the first thing that you want to do is you want to click on that email, and it'll open up and look something like this. And so what I'm going to do is what Clientjoy does for you, by the way, is that it picks up the person's name and their email from the mail itself and shows up over here. And now what I can do is I can link this person and this thread to any of the existing leads or customers that I have already in Clientjoy. But in this case, I want to create them as a new lead. So I just click on Add New Lead, and it fills up this information fairly simply. I just put in the name, which is Profitwell. He's head of sales, and website is profitwell.com. Source is, let's say, just a reference. I can put in my deal info, and so deal info is going to be in conversation public, and conversion probability is 50, and the deal size is, let's say, $250, right? And so I'm done with all of that. I can also add a tag saying, hey, this is going to be for Clientjoy, done, and save. Once I hit on save, it will create a lead onto my sales pipeline. And you could just, basically what you could do is you could come in every day and look through all the emails that you've received, and you can just start creating leads out of them, right? So it shows simple information, like a very quick information of that lead over here. But what's really cool is that when I can also obviously unlink and update the information of the lead. So I can also just update all the information over here. But what's really cool is when I now go to my leads page, number 1, it would have already created that lead. And number 2, in case, which you can see over here, and number 2, which is more important, is that if I have had any conversation with them previously, or if any of my other team members in my agency who also have their account linked with Clientjoy have had any conversation with them previously, it will start showing up under emails, right? So they just start showing up over here, including the current conversation and all the previous threads that I've had with them, right? So as you can see, I just linked this conversation which had emails in this particular thread, but there have been previous conversations as well where I've sent out an email to them, or they've sent out an email to me or anyone in my organization, and they start appearing over here as well. And I can obviously open this email reply from here, or reply all, or I can just send out a new email to them, or whatever the case may be. Another key advantage of sending out an email via Clientjoy is the fact that when you hit a reply to an email, you basically can also include your meeting links, fairly quickly and easily. So as I have my meeting link, I'll just click over here and it gets copied, and I'll just let's book a call here, and just add a link to my meeting link, which is this one. It's public for anyone to come in. I just say it should open in a new window and hit save, right? And so I can then write my email around it. Once we build email templates, you'll also be able to just plug in an email template right from this area. And again, this is a rich text editor. Everything that you can do in Outlook, you can do over here as well. The key advantage of sending emails through Clientjoy, though, is the fact that you can track your emails, right? And so these emails, when they are sent out via Clientjoy, you will be able to know when these emails were opened. And if you choose to, then Clientjoy will also send out a notification to you over your phone or your web, saying that a particular email that you sent out has now been opened, right? To see how that works, let's just head over to the dashboard. So one, you'll receive a notification over here saying that a particular email has opened. So as an example, kamal@gdfil.com opened the email with subject this particular email, and it will also show up in the recent activity by leads over here. So in this case, let me just find that particular case. Yeah, so it says Giridhar opened the email with the subject Cloudware's Clientjoy API issue, right? Naomi opened this particular email, and so on and so forth. So I receive all of these notifications as well as recent activity by leads. Another thing that Clientjoy also does is that it, depending on the activities that your leads do on your emails and proposals and stuff like that, it also marks them as hot and cold, right? And it also kind of uses some amount of intelligence to share with you that these are the people who are hot leads, and so on and so forth. The other cool thing that you also should remember is that when you convert that particular lead into a client, right, all of those conversations also get moved on to the client, right? So as an example, let's take Taylor as an example. And so let's say I've had multiple conversations with them. I've sent out emails to them, and we've had meetings and activities, and we've had calls and stuff like that. And he's moved on in across our sales pipeline, moved from here to, let's say, negotiation, and then from negotiation to closed one. Now what I can do is I can just click on him, and I can just convert him to a customer, right? And so in case if I want to add more details in terms of custom fields and stuff like that for a customer, I can do that. I can also give them client portal access and stuff like that, which I've already covered in the client portal video. But I can basically now, Profitwell is my customer and Taylor is one of the contacts, and all the emails that I've received from Taylor or I've sent out to Taylor, all of them are also carried forward, right? So I now have access to that as well. Another key thing, so you can also see the recent one that I just created. It is now moved into draft, which is let's book a call here. Right? Another key thing, an important thing that you should also know is that if you want to mark a particular thread as private, right? So what you could just do is, let's say if I want to mark this as private, then I have that option over here, right? So it says privacy is shared, which is shared by default across all emails that are linked with people. Again, just to be clear, only the emails that are linked with leads and clients are available for your colleagues. So as an example, the conversation that I'm having with Edgar over here from Nilus, who's one of our partners, this conversation in terms of my payment to them was declined for whatever the reason was. This conversation is not public to my team members, right? However, the conversation that I'm having with Taylor, since it's already linked with this particular lead, it is already shared with them. But let's say I don't want to share it with them. So what I do is I just click on mark it as private, and so it will still be linked with that lead. However, it's only available for me to see, right? and so that basically means that if you don't want to have your if you don't want to have your financial conversations, if you don't want to have your payment conversations or any conflict related conversations available to your colleagues in the agency, you could just mark those threads as private, and so it ensures that you are still able to track and you are still able to see whether what conversations you had, but your colleagues don't necessarily have access to that particular thing. Right? The last but not the least is that if at any point of time you have any questions, you could just always hit support from over here. We're always available for you for chats, or you can also click on become a champion over here, and we have some cool help articles and short videos to help you make better use of Mailbox as well. And that's pretty much it, right? So it's fairly simple, straightforward, and usable in the sense that it integrates with your Mailbox with one click. You can create leads using the incoming emails that you have. It pushes out all the updates that you can see over here. It tracks the emails. You can set up your email signature. You can mark those threads as private. You can keep some of them as public, so that your colleagues don't miss out on any opportunities, or don't miss out on context on any opportunities, and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much it, right? Thank you for joining in today. I hope this has been helpful, and hope you have a blast using Mailbox within Clientjoy. Until next time.